I don't pay attention to rumors. I don't pay attention to movie magazines. I don't read them because they're all junk. I don't mean to put anybody's job down. When I hear rumors flying around, I got sick in the hospital. Well, I was, in this day and time, you can't even get sick. You are strung out. By God, I'll tell you something, friend. I have never been strung out in my life, except on music. When I got sick here in the hotel, I got sick here that one night. I had 102 temperature. They wouldn't let me perform. From 3 different sources, I heard I was strung out on heroin. I swear to God, hotel employees, Jack, bellboys, freaks that carry your luggage up to the room, people working around, talking, maids. And I was sick. I was getting a doctor had the flu, and I got over one day. It was all across this town, strung out. So I told him earlier, and don't you get offended, ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking to somebody else. If I find or hear the individual that has said that about me, I'm gonna break your neck, you son of a bitch. That is dangerous. That is damaging to myself, to my little daughter, to my father, to my friends, my doctor, to everybody in my relationship with you, my relationship with you on the stage. It is dangerous. I will pull your tongue out by the roots. Thank you very much. Let me get out of this mood.
Knocked out jailbird, sing, let it rock. Everybody let it rock. Everybody in old cell block was dancing to the jailhouse rock. Spider Murphy played his tenor saxophone. Little Joe was blowing on the slide trombone. The drummer boy from Illinois would crash, boom, bang. The whole rhythm section was a purple gang. Let it rock. Everybody let it rock.
In 1981, This Is Elvis was released theatrically. In 1983, an unrated expanded video version with 40 minutes of footage not shown in theaters is released to the public. Although the 1983 version does include 40 minutes of scenes not shown in theaters, it also contains 3 scenes that were highly edited to sugarcoat Elvis's image.
Is that when we got caught that night, Chief, at the Gator Bowl?
Yeah.
And you guys put me through a window into a paddy wagon and took me to the hospital?
Yeah. You guys see that rocket this morning?
Oh yeah, did the launch chair go off?
You could see it in the sky when it disconnected up there. Gigi and him saw the explosion. I didn't know it.
I had lunch.
Because they just launched right over here.
I had lunch.
I was buried in a beaver.
How was your lunch?
No, they don't have sound working, man.
Just picture it.
Watch out, Elvis. There's a mic up there.
You sneaky.
That's why I want to say no. I wanted to know.
Okay.
They believe that section out right there.
Now you got to do a 5-minute monologue over this.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California, home of mine. Straddled that Greyhound and rode him in the Raleigh and on across Carolina. Had motor trouble, it turned into a struggle halfway across Alabama. Well, a hound broke down and left us all stranded in downtown Birmingham.
Takeoff time will be at 8:15. You know that girl I was with last night? With the dog? Oh, man. She gave great head. Hey, Joe, that chick last night gave greatest head. You remember that dog you was with, son?
Right away up on me a through train, ticket right across Mississippi clean. I was on that midnight flyer out of Birmingham, smoking in the New Orleans.
I was chosen one of the 10 outstanding young men in America. It was a real honor for me. I was very moved.
So every dream that I ever dreamed has come true 100 times. I learned very early in life that without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song, the road would never bend. Without a song. So I'll keep singing a song.
Sure as you were born, they bought me a silk suit and put luggage in my hand. And I woke up high over Albuquerque on a jet to the promised land. Working on a T-bone steak, all the carty flying over to the Golden State. And the pilot told us in 13 minutes he would set us at the terminal gate.
The single most exciting concert I ever gave was an event Colonel Parker set up in Hawaii in 1973. It was the first worldwide satellite telecast by an entertainer. It was seen in 36 countries. Over 1 billion people were watching.
How was the sound in that building?
Very good.
Very good.
Very, very good.
Sound like it was good.
It really did. Good show.
Here's your security game. Here, take this off. Man, can Hawaii get sticky? It's a hot time in Florida.
Boy, it is.
Thank goodness. A rainy night in Georgia.
Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues, in the middle of the pouring rain. W.C. Handy, won't you look down over me? Yeah, I got a first-class ticket, but I'm as blue as a boy can be. Then I'm walking in Memphis, just walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis, but do I really feel the way I feel? Saw the ghost of Elvis on Union Avenue. Followed him up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Now security, they did not see him, they just hovered around his tomb.
Elvis took drugs because he liked them. Everybody thinks of trying to escape anything. He just loved them.
He get pissed off at Elvis. He was a smart man, he knew what he was doing, but he denied it.
I threatened the doctor. I said, if I ever see this man in this shape again, I will go all the way.
Colonel Parker walks up to me, we stand toe-to-toe, and he stares coldly into my eyes. He says, the only thing that's important is that that man is on stage tonight. Nothing else matters.
He didn't
Nothing.
like to be around new people. He didn't trust them. He trusted us. We were a source of comfort. He could be what he wanted to be around us. He could be himself. If there was an Elvis himself, and it was around us. He didn't like, Elvis did not make friends easy. He just didn't like to do it. And with us, he didn't have to do it. And with us, we all could be what we wanted to be, and he could be the same.
Elvis's girlfriend, Ginger Alden, didn't want to go on tour with him. Ginger was just 21 and not prepared to bow to his every demand, something Elvis was used to, even during his doomed marriage to Priscilla.
I'd be lost without your love.
Over the years, his Memphis Mafia had supplied him with a string of compliant girls.
He was so charismatic that he would draw, you know, he was like, they were like moths flying around a flame.
The girl of my best friend.
It's funny to me today because just for the hell of it, one Saturday night, at a time when there was only 7 of us,
including Elvis. See, on Friday night and Saturday night, Elvis used to let all the girls in that hung around the gates. And one Saturday night, just for the hell of it, I was bored. So I went around the house and I counted all the women that were in the house with us 7 guys. And this is not an exaggeration. There was 152 women there.
8 p.m., Thursday, the 15th of August, 1977. Elvis goes to the dentist in search of prescription drugs. He's accompanied by Ginger, Billy Smith, and Billy's wife, Jo.
In the movie years, the drugs were in control. The sleeping pills and the uppers for the energy level. I couldn't take them every day. Not to be the goody-goody, but I just couldn't take that pill because I knew what it was going to do to me. Make my mouth dry, it was just going to make me wired all day, and I just didn't want to do it. But I had to take them sometimes because he would stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, 3 o'clock, and we get up at 5 to go on location, and there's no way, and I learned from the very start, I sleep when he sleeps.
We were going so hard that Elvis started getting a bloody nose. And we went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you guys need to get some rest. His resistance was getting down, and he kept getting a bloody nose, so we had to rest for a couple of days.
Elvis did everything to excess. He had massive appetites for food, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. He approached his search for spiritual serenity in the same enthusiastic way. Larry Geller was Elvis's personal hairdresser and spiritual guru.
Elvis had a beautiful head of hair. I mean, the man had everything. He even had the hair. It was a little fine. It lacked body, but he had a beautiful head of hair. And I remember I sprayed it, and I was molding it, and I said, so what do you think, Elvis? And he said, oh, great, great, great. And he swirled around in his chair. He looked and said, but I want to ask you a question. My hair is great, but what's more important to me is this. What are you really into, Larry? What are you really all about? It really threw me for a loss for a moment. I mean, here's a person who was totally straightforward. And I said, Elvis, I mean, you know that I work with celebrities and I do their hair. This is what I do for a living. But what's more important to me than anything else is my search for truth. To find the purpose for living. I said, look, I know you're Elvis Presley, you're the biggest star in the world. I know this must sound corny to you. He said, wait a minute, Larry, wait. That's not corny at all. You have no idea how I need to hear what you have to say about this. Please, man, just keep on talking. And I did. He said, look, how come I haven't an experience? I want to feel God. I said, well, Elvis, look, it doesn't happen like that. When you want something, you want it now and you expect it. You have to be patient and you have to surrender your ego.
In his latter years, Elvis embarked on a punishing touring schedule, organized by his manager, Colonel Tom Parker.
He didn't like the idea of doing, 2 shows a night, sometimes 3, 7 days a week, and it bothered him. And it festered and festered and festered. It's like when I called him from L.A. when we were going to do that last tour. And I said, you just need to shut it down. I said, the tour. I said, cut it off. Let's just, I said, let's just cancel this tour out. And he said, Lamar, I've got a payroll. Which, when you say that, you go, well, he's right. But at the same time, I told him, I said, listen, you got 2 or 3 guys around here that'll go to Hawaii with you. And I said, we'll hang out and you just, and you can get yourself back together again. He said, let's talk about that after this tour's over. It sounds like a good idea. He didn't make it.
As Elvis prepared for his last tour, that would start in Portland, Maine on August the 17th, it was clear that he had no choice but to perform if he were to remain solvent. And for Tom Parker, it was essential that his gambling losses were covered. Elvis had turned into the Colonel's own cash cow.
We were on tour in Louisville, Kentucky. And this was about 4 months before Elvis passed away. And Elvis, the night before, had a very difficult time. He felt he had a fever. He felt nauseous. He felt flu-like. He couldn't sleep. He had a very, very difficult night. It was late afternoon, And Dr. Nick was Elvis's doctor, who traveled with us, was in the bedroom with Elvis. I was in the front room. The television was on, and there was a pounding on the door, which was very unusual because we owned that floor. No one was allowed there. We had security cops positioned in front of the elevators. Everything was blocked off. So who would knock on the door like that? So I immediately walked over to the door, looked through the peephole, and there's Colonel Parker, who never came to visit Elvis on tour. I opened the door. I said, "Colonel." He said, "Where is he?" I said, "Well, he's in the bedroom. Let me tell him you're here." He said, "No, I'm going right in." So he, with his cane, he walked past me. He opened the door, and this is what I saw. Dr. Nick was holding Elvis's head. Elvis is in the bed, semi-conscious, almost comatose. And he was moaning. He was in such bad shape. And Dr. Nick was dunking Elvis's head into a bucket of ice water to revive him. The door closed. And I thought immediately, okay, this is good. This is good. Now the old man, Parker, is going to see what's going on here. He's going to see how bad, the bad shape Elvis is in. And he's going to do something about it. I mean, he can't allow this to go on. It's inhuman. 90 seconds later, the door opened up. Colonel Parker walks up to me and and I get up. We stand toe to toe, and he stares coldly into my eyes. He says, "Now you listen to me. The only thing that's important is that that man is on stage tonight. Nothing else matters. Nothing."
There's a lot of them. I can't think of any right offhand.
I like to live up to my reputation of being a nice guy. This is it, folks. Beautiful, baby.
While committed to a hectic touring schedule at the behest of the Colonel, and with mounting financial and physical problems, Elvis and his mafia had become more and more isolated from the real world.
Well, I knew over the years Elvis was very isolated from the outside world. We didn't know what was going on the outside. We very seldom read the paper. We watched a lot of sports, a lot of TV shows. We didn't hardly watch the news. We were very, very much hidden from everything going on the outside.
We lived in an insulated world within our own group. And our group, I mean, somebody said that Elvis really never left his bedroom. Well, he didn't. Elvis would get on his airplane bedroom and go to a hotel bedroom, and would go from a hotel bedroom to his Graceland bedroom.
Elvis, over the years, every once in a while, he'd get like that. He'd go to his upstairs, and he might spend a week or two and not even show his face. But that was only like a week or two. Now we're talking about months, you know.
10 p.m., August the 15th, 1977. The guys were assembling in Memphis for what would prove to be one tour too far. By the mid-70s, Elvis's drug habit had become a serious threat to his life.
In 1975, what I had been seeing a little bit of the previous year or so was getting worse, and I was very concerned about his health. It wasn't like it had been before when he was taking the uppers and the sleeping pills. When he started experimenting with the down stuff, that's when we started getting concerned, all of us, not just me. The down stuff is like Demerol and things like that, pain medication that brings you and lets you down and you kind of just float, you know. Dilaudid is like a synthetic and is 5 times more powerful than pure morphine, mostly given for cancer patients, terminally ill cancer that just couldn't handle the pain. But see, in his mind were not illegal drugs. These were prescription drugs. Now, the doctor's writing them for him. He's abusing them, but they're not illegal drugs in his mind.
I got a call from Elvis saying, "Jerry, can you help me?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, I'm on the floor, I can't get up. And I said, "Who's there?" And he said, "Nobody." So I ran downstairs. I don't know what car I got into, whatever. Went to the doctor's house, and sure enough, Elvis was there. This was a proud man. And, you know, he was even proud around us. And this broke my heart. And he was on the floor. I go upstairs, and Elvis is on a stationary bicycle. Just, I mean, he's going full speed. She probably hadn't been out of the bed in 4 weeks, right? And Charlie doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know about my meeting with the doctor and everything. And Charlie, when you get your medical degree, you can start telling the doctors how to treat me, and he was furious.
Elvis took drugs because he liked them. There was no, everybody thinks that there's some sort of supercilious situation where he would develop this thing of trying to escape anything. And I'd sit down and say, Elvis, you don't need to take all this. He said, I need it. When a person has that mentality, there is no way you can stop them. They're going to do it, and that's the end of it. It's like I said, I need a drink. You say, no, you don't. I need it. You can't. You're done.
None of the guys were in any doubt. The drugs and ensuing health problems had changed Elvis both mentally and physically. Elvis had not been in good health for some time, and many of his physical problems were caused by his diet. Elvis had eaten typical Southern cooking all his life, mostly fried and deep-fried and refried dishes, a diet certainly not conducive to good health.
He would eat crisp bacon, sliced tomatoes, mashed potatoes and gravy, and sauerkraut, believe it or not, and mix it all together and eat it, and loved it. And Elvis would eat stuff till he got tired of it, and then he wouldn't eat anymore. So he got off of it. The last year of Elvis's life, he went back to eating mashed potatoes, sauerkraut, sliced bacon, sliced tomatoes, bacon, sliced tomatoes, very crisp. And I said, you know what you're doing here? What do you mean? I said, you're back, it's the way you used to eat in 57. He said, I never thought about that.
Elvis had a lot of physical problems that were really eating away at him. He had glaucoma. He had hypertension. Do you know that every night after a show, his blood pressure would shoot up to 180, 200 every night? And that's a tremendous strain on the heart. Elvis had a spastic, twisted colon. I can't tell you the problems that plagued him because of it. He also had his blood sugar that was a little too high. His body would start to get bruises on his leg. One night we were on tour, he tripped and fell down the stairs at the back of the stage and twisted his ankle. And he had a very difficult time after that, moving on stage.
Midnight, August the 15th, 1977. Waiting for the tour to commence, the guys knew Elvis was unhealthy, but they still believed nothing could touch or hurt him.
August 15, 1977, I flew in from Los Angeles getting ready to do a tour. That next day, we were supposed to leave for Portland, Maine. And we were sitting around the kitchen talking, and that was upstairs with Ginger Alden, his girlfriend at the time. And Billy Smith was there and his wife, and they leave. We just ate dinner, the guys, a couple guys sitting around talking about tomorrow, what we got to do. I call upstairs, and I say, Elvis, I'm here, anything we need, anything I should know about, anything you need for tomorrow, and he was fine. He seemed very well.
3 or 4 o'clock, I don't remember exactly what time it was, but he called out at the house, and he said, you know, would you and Joe come out, and me, you, and Joe, and Ginger go down to the racquetball? I said, sure. So we met there about somewhere around 4:30, I guess. And it was Joe and Ginger, and then Elvis and Ginger, and then me and Joe, and then me and Elvis. And then time it got to me and Elvis, well, it done got down to silliness. It was no longer a racquetball game. Though we were getting exercise, we were trying desperately to see who could nail the other one with the ball, you know. And then he finally swung so hard he missed, and he hit himself on his shin. And that ended the game right there. He went complaining about it hurting. So I raised his pants leg up there, and I looked at it, and I said, it's not bleeding. I said, it can't be hurting. Then he got into a kind of a melancholy mood. You know, he went to the piano, and he was playing different songs for, you know, for Ginger and us. And then that lasted maybe, well, 15, 20 minutes.
Lost in his music, it was as if Elvis was 21 again.
If near or far away, I'm always longing for the day, my darling, you are home to stay. I'd be lost without your love.
And then we went back to Graceland. I went upstairs and I washed and dried his hair for him. And we talked in the bathroom. You know, he even told me, he said, man, he said, you know, I'm gonna try to make this the best tour ever, you know. And he said, I'm gonna try to go to sleep. I said, okay. I said, you need me, I'll be at the house, you know. And I assumed he was going to bed. His mood swings were more frequent. Elvis Presley was always an upbeat person. He really was, and I guess that's one of the things more that made you, you know, like to be a part of that, because he was. And then to see him have these mood swings, you know, more frequent, and it was scary, you know, it really was. And I didn't like it. To be honest with you, I just didn't like it at all.
I would say that Elvis started slipping after he accomplished that feat of the 1.5 billion people watching him live from around the world on that satellite show. From that point on, I would say it was just a slowly slide. No up and down, just slowly slide.
I tried not to let his moods a lot of times affect my moods. If I did, we were both in the pits of hell at that time, literally. And so therefore, when I thought he was down, I was going to try to be up. And when he was up, I was automatically up. I mean, I was in tune to him. But it was difficult. It was hard, you know. And you want to just say, God, man, you know, come on. It's not too late, you know. Get a grip in your life, you know, and get away from the drugs, you know. Don't use them. You don't have to. And take a little time off. Nothing's that impressing. You don't owe anybody anything. If you get rid of me tomorrow, and I told him that, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart, if you get rid of all these guys, they will understand. And if they don't, they were not your friends to start with. But take some time off. And he'd just look at me and say, I can't. I owe too much to too many people.
We lived a wild and fast life in those matter of years that he was on Earth. So, like that song, you know, he did it his way. I'm not giving the song any credit, but I wish he would have changed and did it our way, but he did it his way. We could talk to him at times, he'd sit and agree. He'd say, yeah, I'm gonna change my life. Yeah, I'm not ready. I'll do it when I'm ready to do it. And we all had that hope, because the last vacation in March of 1977, we all went to Hawaii. We had a great time. He was in a great mood. He was out there on the beach having a good time. He was overweight at the time, but he was smiling. We thought, hey, this is a good chance. You know, he cleaned his act up for about 30 days or more. But then all of a sudden, boom, right back again.
At Graceland, Elvis now faced the grind and rigors of yet more performances, with the backup of his friends. None of them were happy. Elvis's decline had accelerated.
When I see him on stage performing in the manner that he started performing there at the end, where he wanted to do the best show he could, but with what he was,
nothing left.
The where he was at, he was really burning, and the light was getting dimmer.
I must say, this is painful for me, that when Elvis came on stage, he gave such a I mean, the guy, whoever has not seen Elvis live has missed the greatest entertainer of the 20th century, the greatest star of the 20th century. But when I saw him, my heart sank, because I knew that something was wrong. I could see it in his eyes. I saw it in his face. I said, he can't last like this another 5 years.
We were all very frustrated. But we all could do, only thing we could do is that. We can't, he's 42 years old. You can't force this man to do anything. You know, people say, why did you guys have him committed? How could I have him committed? He's 42 years old. I can't have him committed. His father couldn't have him committed. You know, you can't prove he's crazy. Your hands are tied. Your hands are tied.
I didn't lay back in the later years. That last year and a half, I didn't lay back. I said what I wanted to say. The hell of it is, after all, I look back on it, it didn't do any good, you know, and that's what hurts more than anything.
6 a.m., the 16th of August, 1977. Elvis was restless. He told Ginger he was going to read in the bathroom. 2 p.m., the 16th of August, 1977. Ginger went to the bathroom to check if Elvis was okay.
Got up the next day, came to the house about 12 noon, this is the 16th, and about 2 o'clock, the phone rings, intercom, and one of the maids picks up the phone, and it's Ginger. She says, come upstairs, I need help. Elvis fainted. So I ran upstairs. I go into the bathroom, and Elvis had fell over. He was laying on the floor. I turned him over, and I knew he was dead. I just knew it. But I was hoping he wasn't. I picked up the phone, called the operator. They didn't have 911 at that time, and said, we need an ambulance here at Elvis Presley's house, and I didn't tell him who it was. And meanwhile, I couldn't do mouth-to-mouth resuscitation because Elvis' mouth was closed shut. There was no way possible. There's rumors I did that, but somebody made that story up. I was trying to massage his heart as well as I could, and it just seemed forever. People were all coming up there, and it was pandemonium. The ambulance finally showed up, and it seemed forever, and I found out later it was like 20 minutes before they got there. We got him in the ambulance. The stretcher came, got him down in the ambulance. I jumped in the back of the ambulance. All the way to the hospital, we're talking to him, and we get to the hospital real quick, the Baptist hospital. Got there, and they rushed him into the emergency room. I tell you, it was tough. And 30 minutes later, about 30 minutes, I would think, Dr. came into the room, and he said, Elvis has left. Elvis is gone. And we all broke down, and we all hugged each other. And, it was, very emotional time, naturally. We were, still in a state of shock, even when you think about it. We never thought this could ever happen.
I go to Graceland. I pulled into the gates, and Elvis's uncle says to me, Larry, did you hear what just happened? I said, no, what happened? He said, Elvis just died.
Are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me tonight? Are you sorry we drifted apart? Does your memory stray to a bright summer day when I kissed you and called you sweetheart? Do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare? Do you gaze at your doorstep and picture me there? Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight. You know, someone said that the world's a stage in which you must play a part. Fate had me playing in love with you as my sweetheart. Act 1 was where we met. I loved you at first glance. You read your lines so cleverly and never missed a cue. Then came Act 2. You seemed to change, you acted strange, and why I've never known. Honey, you lied when you said you loved me, and I had no cause to doubt you. But I'd rather go on hearing your lies than to go on living without you. Now the stage is bare, and I'm standing there with emptiness all around. And if you won't come back to me, then they can bring the curtain down. Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, you're crying all the time. Making nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. Well, they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. You know they said you was high class. Well, that was just a lie. Yeah, you ain't never caught a rabbit and you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. Well, you ain't never caught a rabbit, you ain't no friend of mine. You ain't nothing but a hound.
It was a night, ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. The moon was bright, oh how bright it was, it really was such a night. The night was alive with stars above. Ooh, when she kissed me, I had to fall in love. Oh, it was a kiss, ooh, what a kiss it was, it really was such a kiss. Oh, how she could kiss, oh, what a kiss it was, it really was such a kiss. Just the thought of her lips sets me afire. I reminisce, and I'm filled with desire. But I gave my heart to her, sweet surrender. Well, I remember, I'll always remember. Oh, what a night. Ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. Came the dawn, my heart in her love, and the night was gone. But I'll never forget the kiss in the moonlight. Ooh, such a kiss, such a night. It was a night. Ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. Came the dawn, and my heart in her love, and the night was gone. But I'll never forget the kiss in the moonlight. How will I remember? I'll always remember that night. Ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. When we kissed, I had to fall in love. But I gave my heart to her, sweet surrender. How will I remember? I'll always remember. Oh, that night. Ooh, what a night it was, it really was such a night. When we kissed, I had to fall in love. While she's gone, 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 yeah, she's gone, gone, gone. Came the dawn, 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 and my love was gone. But before that dawn, yes, before that dawn, and before that dawn, ooh, 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 such a look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise, oh yes you are, devil in disguise. You fool me with your kisses, you cheated and you schemed. Heaven knows how you lied to me. You're not the way you seem. You look like an angel, walk like an angel, talk like an angel, but I got wise. You're the devil in disguise, oh yes you are, devil in disguise.